Plaintiff Tammy Stifler says her daughter was friends with the defendant's sister. And after the defendant's father passed away, Tammy became the legal guardian of the defendant's sister. Tammy claims she wanted to help the defendant after his dad's death, so she loaned him money for a car. But she's suing because he has yet to repay. Defendant Max Rumgay says his sister went to live with Tammy while his father was ill, and he was left to care for himself and his ailing dad without a stable place to live. Max says after his dad died, he graduated high school, and the only reason he needed a car was so he could get a job.
Start with you.
Well, about 5 years ago, his father got ill, and my daughter was friends with his sister. So the father asked if we could watch his sister. That's how we know Max, because we ultimately ended up getting legal guardianship of her.
Okay.
2 years into that, unfortunately, his father passed away. He ended up going out to Raleigh, North Carolina to live with a half-sister for a year while he finished high school. He moved back here and stayed with a friend for, I think, maybe 6-7 months. And that's when he came to us for the loan.
Okay. Sir, can you give me some background?
I met Tammy about 5 years ago, and my father was sick. She ended up taking in my sister, and I was kind of left to help my father in his sickness and kind of go from house to house, whether it was a friend or half-brother.
How old were you?
I was 15 or 16 going on 17 when this happened.
Where did you stay when your dad passed?
When my dad passed, I was given the ultimatum to either become officially homeless, not just couch surfing, but a ward of the state, or I could go to North Carolina, live with my half-sister, and graduate high school. And
what did you do?
I went to North Carolina, was there for 11 months. I graduated high school, my grades were better. And then when I came back, I had issues with like transportation and finding work.
Why didn't you stay?
Just because I missed my friends and the life that I had grown up with out here. As rough as it was, like, it's still home. Home is where your heart is, not where your address is.
That's where your job is. Go ahead, though. So you came back home, and what happened?
I came home and didn't have work. I didn't have, I had a place to stay. Like, initially coming back, a friend of mine said I could stay at their house for a little while just to try and look for a job and everything, and that took longer than expected. Just finding work in Southern California is difficult, being like 19 years old with little to no job experience.
Why didn't you go to trade school or college or something like that?
Because I was 19, I kind of wanted to do something just in the meantime so I could make a little bit of money and go out and like have fun and enjoy the last bit before I had to get serious and like start dealing with like getting my own place.
How'd that work out for you?
Didn't pan out so well so far.
And you haven't gotten a job yet?
I found employment temporarily, and then December I was laid off. And in January, the following month, I was supposed to start paying back.
All right. Did you?
the loan.
No. We're talking about work. I'm just trying to see how dedicated you were to yourself. You know, how much you were dedicated to partying and having a good time, or how much you were dedicated to self-sufficiency, getting your life together and being a serious young man. Sounds like you're not capable of taking care of yourself. And if you are unable to get a job that affords you to take care of yourself and pay back the debts you owe, then you should go to school to prepare yourself for a career that would afford you to take care of yourself. You should be a little more serious about your life, young man. You don't have anybody to lean on. If you're a privileged kid and your parents got a lot of money or some money and can allow you to do that, then fine. I don't believe in that. My kids, they can't go without working since college for no more than 6 months so they can work with me. Whatever I'm doing, I'll find something to do. You get on this road and carry these bags and you do something, you're gonna work. And so that's what, that sounds like you're not being a responsible young man. And if you can't find a job, that's when you go to school, and you go to school until you get a job. So that's my advice to you. Can't find a job, go to trade school to prepare for a career. Even if you do find a job, if you don't have a trade or a college education these days, that job isn't going to sustain you very long. Tell me about the money. $3,400? How did you give him $3,400?
Well, initially it was $3,000 for the car and $400 for
Oh, he had a car and still wouldn't go to work.
That's the whole.
Go ahead.
Actually, that was it. My husband actually was able to get him into the electricians union. Wow. He went to go take the test and didn't pass it, but he, I think, was embarrassed to tell us.
You can take it again.
You can take it again, and most people, I think it's only a 50% pass rate for your first time, but you learn what's in the test, and then you study for it. And he said he wasn't really understanding the study material, and I told him, please come over any weekend you want. Ray, my husband, he will go over this stuff with you, and he just never did. He just gave up on it. When he came over to ask for the loan, it was for this purpose, to get into the union, but he needed a reliable car to do it. $3,000 was for the car, $400 was for 6 months of insurance, and $387 of the insurance was our Christmas gift to him.
You've been riding from club to club in that car ever since.
Oh, yeah, you know, it just irritates me.
Club to club.
Yep.
All right. Any defense to not paying?
In my defense, I had lost my job and I had immediately informed Tammy of this, and she had told me to pay her when I got back on my feet. I hadn't had a job from December up until about April, and I actually do have a text message from her saying that $100 a month, which was the original payment plan, wasn't going to do anything for them.
Why you act like this young man hadn't paid you? He's giving you $100 a month.
That was the initial agreement, was to pay her $100 a month.
All right, so, right.
Yeah, but I was unable.
So how much do we knock off? Let me see.
Nothing. And I have text messages too.
That was the initial agreement, was to pay her $100.
So did you keep any agreement? Nothing. Making excuses for yourself. And yeah, I can come down on you. I got the credentials to come down on you. My mother died when I was 7 months out of jail, getting a GED, and then went to college because I had no means of supporting myself like you. So I can do this to you. Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I want to say that I apologize for not being as well on my feet as I should have been, and putting partying and going out and everything above paying you back, even though I had misunderstood some of the things that were said and thought that it would be okay to pay you back later. And I appreciate everything you've done for my sister, and I wish that things would have turned out differently, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I love you. I don't hold this against you. So.